Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Grumpy Gavin Plays FTL. For this version of the game, I think we're going to be starting off with the Stealth Cruiser, and for this very first episode, barring of course the pilot episode where I had that terrible mic, we're going to be basically explaining a lot of things to you. I've got a nice new microphone, and I also had to redo the audio of this first part, so I better get talking to explaining. These are the different ships. There's a big old list of them. FTL is, of course, a roguelike. It's different every time you play it, and you'll be dying a lot, and that's okay. So these are the different ships we have here. Looks like the Engi Cruiser is the one the mouse is over right now. You got the Lanius Crystal, lots of different stuff here. Nice thing about this is you have... When you first start the game, you'll have only one ship to choose from. It's the top left corner one there, the Kestrel. Right now we're looking at the Engi Cruiser. When you first start the game, you'll only have access to the Kestrel Cruiser in the top left corner there. As you play, you'll unlock more, doing various things. For example, the Crystal Cruiser takes some... Crystal Cruiser's the worst, takes forever to get. I'll explain it at the end of the playthrough. But the cool thing is, every ship in this game, with the exception of two, have 3 different versions of them. As you can see right here, the Type A, B, and C, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. The exceptions, of course, are the Crystal Cruiser and the Lanius Cruiser. I'm not entirely sure why. The Lanius Cruiser, of course, is only available with the Advanced Edition of the game, which is free. It is a free update. The game costs $10 on Steam. It's a great game. You should all get it. You can, as you can see there, you can turn on or turn off the Advanced Edition content. I'm not sure why you'd ever want to turn it off. I don't know. But, yeah, the Lanius Cruiser in the top right corner there only comes with the Advanced Edition, and here we're looking at some of the different cruisers here. Got it's the Stealth Cruiser down there Stealth Cruiser, the Necesseo. This is the Type B and Type C Stealth Cruisers. I believe for this playthrough we're going to go with the Type A, just because that's what I chose. I don't remember why. I know the Type C does not come with a cloaking device, which, if you're wondering what that is, we'll get to it in a minute. Right here I'm looking at the Federation Cruiser, the Zoltan Cruiser. Both are pretty fun. Maybe we'll get to them in later playthroughs of the game, depending on how many times I want to play this game. And here you get a little look at the Osprey. We have down here different races in the bottom corner. You got humans, mantis, giant praying mantis type guys. They are good in combat. You have rockmen, who are kind of like that giant rock monster in that Tim Allen movie, Galaxy Quest. Fun movie. Right there we have an Engi. He's like a half organic, half robot type guy. They're good at repairing stuff. Not so good in combat. We'll go into more detail in them later. Here we have the Zoltan, these green dudes. Less health, but they can power up whatever room they're in with power, so that's pretty cool. The Advanced Edition also lets them explode when they die. Down there we have these slug people. They have telepathic things, like they can show you where other people are if your sensors aren't working. And now we're just looking at the different types of Federation cruisers we have. There's the Lanius ship. The Lanius is the newer race in the Advanced Edition. They suck the oxygen out of whatever room they're in, as indicated on their ship there. You can see those 2 rooms have the diagonal red and pink lines. That means there's no oxygen in there. So normal humans probably don't want to go in that room with the Lanius. Yep, there I am pointing to it. So yeah, the Lanius are interesting. I think they move a little bit slower too, and they do slowly drain the oxygen. It's not an instantaneous thing. There's the Type B Lanius, which has no sensors for some reason. That's the Rock Cruiser, that's the Engi Cruiser, and all of these different ships are based on the different races that you can play as. You know, the Rockmen have their cruiser, the Zoltan have their cruiser, and so on. The Federation ship is not based on any particular race, but is based more on the storyline of the ship. But again, you will learn more about that later. Let's see, what am I looking at here? We're going through the different types of ships. I don't remember what past Grumpy Gavin said about these things. This is the Type C Stealth Cruiser. It has drones on it, it looks like, but it has no cloaking device. Here I'm going over the different systems that you can see down in the middle, those little green things. I'll go into more detail about those next video. But yeah, you have your basic 3 different layouts here, list of ships. I wish I could remember what I said in the past. I know at some point I go into detail about the different systems. But yeah, in the middle, this is basically the hangar bay. You pick your ship from here. You can turn off the room, so you can turn off the blueprint of the room so you can see it. Nobody really plays it that way, but just show you what it looks like. Down here we have the different systems. You've got the engines, which you need to fly, and they give you an evasion bonus. You got oxygen, weapons, medbay, piloting, sensors, doors, and the cloaking system, which is the whole point of the stealth ship. It turns you invisible and raises your chance to dodge enemy fire by like 60%, which is awesome, and you'll see that a lot in the coming playthrough. Now we're going to rename some of these crew members. We got 3 humans in our crew. We're going to rename them. The first one is going to be called Grumpy. This is, of course, Grumpy Gavin Plays. The next human, he's in our engine bay. We're going to call him, well, I typed in John Fron, but I believe we're going to call him Cyruby before the day is out. And the last guy, who's operating our weapon systems, he's going to be Professor PH. Another YouTuber, perhaps you've heard of him. If not, go ahead and, when you're done with this video, go ahead and look up Professor PH. He's a buddy of mine. He makes Let's Play videos as well. I believe Cyruby does too. Now let's look at these systems down here. We've got engines. They, as you can see, each unit of engines that you invest in gives you a plus 5% to your chance of evasion, your chance of dodging incoming fire. Once you hit... Eventually you're going to hit a soft cap, where instead of plus 5% each time, it's going to give you, diminishing returns. Combined with that is the piloting system. You need to have somebody on the pilot seat. Currently it is Mr. Grumpy, in order to gain that evasion bonus. The pilot is actually a subsystem along with sensors and doors. Those subsystems don't actually require power. They sort of just operate on their own. They have their own power, whereas all the other systems you have to plug power into them. And again, you'll see that in the coming playthrough. Here we have oxygen. Pretty simple. It provides oxygen into your ship. If ever there is no oxygen in a room, it will be displayed by those red and pink diagonal lines, and anybody who goes in there who's not a Lanius is going to take some damage. You got your weapon systems here. Each weapon on your ship costs, or has to be powered, has to cost so much power, 1 power, 2 power, 3 power, and if you upgrade your weapon system, then you can power up at the same time more weapons. Right now we can only power up 2 weapons, we only have 2 blocks of it, or we can only power up 2 power units into it. Each of those weapons we have down there, the mini beam and the that little dual laser, each of those just cost 1 power, so it works out nicely in the beginning. Later on, we'll be investing more in that as we get bigger and better weapons throughout this playthrough. Yeah, so the mini beam and the dual laser we have here. The mini beam, it's pretty cool. You draw a line on the enemy ship, and the little beam will shoot out. I'm pretty sure it never misses, and it will damage it based on the number of rooms that it hits. The dual lasers, very simple. Target a room, shoot 2 lasers. Does 1 damage each. You'll get to see more of that on the playthrough. It'll be good stuff. We also have an empty slot there, a 3rd empty slot. Some ships have 4 slots for weapons. Those are the nice ships, those are the good ships. We don't get 4, we only get 3. Up there is the med bay. If ever your crew members are injured, you just tell them to go to the med bay, and if the med bay is powered up and turned on, it will heal them. We are now, where's the mouse pointing right now? Looks like we got piloting there. The pilot seat is up there. It's good to have somebody in the pilot seat. I'm looking at other ships here for some reason. Why am I doing this, Gavin? Grumpy Gavin. Yep. So we changed ships, so now we gotta rename our guys all over again. Very smart move past Grumpy Gavin. Real smart move. We're still not calling him Cyruby. We will by the end of the game, though, don't worry. Professor PH, once again, on weapon systems. Alright, so we're looking at piloting, we're looking at doors. So yeah, these 3 right here, piloting, sensors, and doors, they are subsystems. Again, do not require power. The sensors will allow you to see more of the enemy ship, depending on how powered up they are. The piloting, if you power it up, it will make the autopilot better. I don't really use the autopilot a whole lot, but there are some ships that are designed for it, designed to use the autopilot. Again, I haven't really played those very much, but maybe you'll get to see a little bit of it. The last subsystem is doors. In between every room on your ship are doors, and right now they're at their lowest level, which means if an enemy boards your ship, they can just walk right through your doors. If you upgrade them, they will become blast doors, improved blast doors, and better stuff. So then enemies have to destroy the doors before they can move on to the next room. The door subsystem also lets you open and close doors as you please, so if somebody's in a room and you want to vent the oxygen from that room by opening it up into space, you can do that. Explosive decompression doesn't seem to happen in this game, but that's okay. We don't need that. That'd be too easy to get people off your ship. It looks like I'm pointing at where the subsystems exist on the ship. So if an enemy wanted to target those subsystems and disable them, they would just have to point their weapons at that room on the ship and shoot them. I should also point out that with these subsystems, and with many of the systems, if you stick a crew member in that room, they will operate the system and they will make it better. So right now I only have one power in my doors, so I just have normal doors. If I were to stick a crew member in there, he would up the quality of my doors by 1 level. So that's if you have a lot of crew members but you don't have a lot of money with which to upgrade, that's an alternative way to make your doors better. But the second that crew member leaves the doors, then they go back down to where they were. Let's see here. What am I looking at now? Still looking at doors. All right. Well, doors are cool. One of my favorite strategies is always to, whenever I get boarded by enemy boarding parties, I just lock up the doors and vent the oxygen in whatever room they're in, and if I'm able to, it's a little bit difficult with this ship layout, but in other ships, it's more easy to not only vent the room that they're in of oxygen, but vent the room that they're going to be in of oxygen, and that'll just really mess them up. So here we're looking at the cloaking system that is not a subsystem, it's a full-on system. You gotta shove power into it. It's the whole point of the ship. The cloaking system turns it invisible, adds 60% to evasion, and the enemies, while you're invisible, cannot charge up their weapons and shoot them at you. So we've just renamed our ship the Grumpster. It's a high quality, real classy name there. Did that just for you guys, because I am Grumpy Gavin. Tell all your friends about me. I'm pretty famous already, but never hurts to have more people. I think I have like 5 subscribers. What am I looking at right now? Looks like my mouse is hovering over the cloaking system. I'm probably still talking about that right now. So, yeah, cloaking system. It's what this particular ship is all about. You press a button and it will go invisible. If you invest more money into the cloaking system and you level it up, your invisibility will last longer. I believe the starting one is 5 seconds, and then 10 seconds, and then it maxes out at 15 seconds. While you're invisible, your enemies, when they point their weapons at you, their weapons have to charge up over a certain amount of time, depending on the quality of the weapon. And while you're invisible, their charge pauses, so they can't pause. A more common and more, I guess, a better strategy, though, is instead of going invisible so they can't charge their weapons, it's a good idea to go invisible immediately after they have fired their weapons. So while invisible, their gun will still be prevented from charging, but your evasion goes up by 60%, and you'll see this in the next episode. We already start off at like 30%, so when you go invisible, you have a 90% chance to dodge. Those bullets there's lasers, and those missiles are probably going to miss you. So up in the right corner of the screen, you see a giant start button that starts the game, and then you've got your 3 different modes here. If I recall correctly, hard mode is part of the advanced edition. I could be wrong though, don't quote me. I typically play on easy mode. It's just nice. You get extra scrap. Normal mode is just normal. You get a little bit of a percentage boost to your score at the end of the game on normal mode, and then hard mode you get less scrap and harder enemies, and your score gets an even bigger boost. In the bottom right, you see augmentations. Every ship starts with their different kinds of augmentations. On this one, we have long-range scanners, which allow us to see a little bit of extra information about where we're about to go. We also have titanium casing, which is, there we go, titanium casing. I believe that gives a 15% chance for the systems on our ship. If somebody were to shoot the systems on our ship, there would be a 15% chance that those systems would not be damaged, but of course the ship itself would still be damaged. Okay, still talking about titanium casing. So, every ship has a 3 augmentation limit. You cannot have more than 3 augmentations. So, if you see something good, you'll have to drop something else or maybe preemptively sell it. Over here, on the left side, we have the ship selector, the layout selector, some achievements for each ship. You know, each ship has 3 achievements associated with it. If you achieve 2 of those achievements, then you unlock the Bravo layout for that ship. Just 2, any 2 out of the 3 achievements that are there. Some of them are pretty hard, some of them are pretty easy. Let's see here, phase shift. I unfortunately cannot read what that says, but you guys can read what that says. You know, it's probably just something like, you know, dodge things with your stealth, tactical approach. In the program that I'm currently using, Adobe Premiere Pro CS6, some of the font is very small and I can't see it, but that's okay. This is a one-time thing, me doing this audio dub after the fact, just because the original audio dub was with a very bad microphone, and halfway through the playthrough, actually on the very next episode, I just went out and bought a better microphone. What microphone did I get? That's a Kraken 7.1 V2, a Razer Kraken 7.1 V2. I'm pretty happy with it. It's got good audio. The mic is okay though. Eventually I'm gonna have to buy a really nice mic, but it looks like I'm looking at augmentations again. Tactical approach is probably something to do with using the long-range scanners. Again, you guys can read this and I can't. I'm gonna look very silly when this video finally goes up onto YouTube. Stealth Cruiser Quest, Stealth Cruiser Victory. Yeah, this whole thing is just information. Down here, we have in the middle, bottom of the screen, we have weapons and drones. This particular layout of the ship does not start with any drones installed, nor does it have the drones system installed, so we're just not going to use drones. I'm not the biggest fan of drones anyway. They're kind of cool if you're going for it, but this isn't what we're doing on this playthrough, so no drones. Maybe you'll see that in the future. Above the drones is the weapons. We've talked about those. Looks like we are looking at engines, cloaking. The mouse is just sort of moving around. Oh, past Grumpy Gavin, what were you doing? What were you talking about? I don't know, but time is running out. So, before this video ends, I just want to remind you guys that I am Grumpy Gavin. I will be playing FTL, a stealth cruiser playthrough. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, as this is the first episode of the Stealth Cruiser. Tell all your friends about me. Peace out, Girl Scout.